Yo, what's going on, you guys, and welcome back to the Anime Plus podcast. This is your podcast for everything anime and anime related. This is your first time here. I'm your boy Aray. I'm the host of this podcast alongside my co-host Owen. Owen, say what's up.
What's going on, guys?
All right, yo, Owen. We just had one of the biggest events in One Piece history. Recently, it just came out on Saturday. Obviously, we're talking about Gear 5, which was a huge event. And in this episode, we're basically going to be talking about whether or not this was a hit or miss. But we're gonna start this off by saying we're gonna segment it. So it's gonna be the good, the bad, the ugly. So obviously, if you're a One Piece fan, you probably don't want to hear all the bad shit about Gear 5 and whatnot. Because I'll be honest, a lot of people have been clowning me because I was expecting a lot of hype. But yeah, we'll start off with the good shit. So Owen, do you want to go first?
Okay, yeah. So the good stuff. I just want to give a brief overview of what I thought about the episode before I get into,
Yeah, fair.
the good, the bad, and the ugly. But generally, it was a good episode. I would say 80% of it was good. There was like 10% was, or like 15% was okay, bad, and then 5% was just ugly. It was a very, I think, so for me, I want to talk about the hype around it before we get into the actual, content. I think first of all, there was a lot of hype behind this episode, and I think that kind of killed the actual episode for everybody. This is kind of a weird take, but because we didn't have any hype for the Zoro versus King fight, there was no hype. There was nothing for it. We actually there was a week of hype, right? And what we got was a masterpiece, but no one expected it because no one saw the trailer. No one saw like, you know what I mean. But with Gear 5, we've been seeing teasers for a bit. We saw like the trailer, and honestly, what the trailer like that will I'll kind of just talk briefly about it, but this will go into the bad section. It gave away a lot of what was going on in Gear 5, which I didn't like. But other than that, show was great. I don't really know if it broke the internet. We watched it a bit later. I heard it broke the internet around 7 p.m. We watched it around like 10:30, 11. So at that time, it was pretty good. Everything was running fine. But overall, it was a huge success. In terms of the hype to delivery rate, I don't think the ratio was that good. The ratio was just made it, I think. Or some people could even say it didn't deliver compared to the hype. But I think just generally stuff that's hyped like this, people are now watching the episode more for like, oh, is this gonna live up to the hype, or is it a good episode? Like, I'm just trying to see if this is a good episode. I'm not trying to see if it'll break the internet. I don't care if it breaks the internet or not. I just want to see a good episode. And I think the hype kind of killed that aspect of just enjoying the episode, because in the true essence, so we'll go into this, will kind of segue into the good. I think what they did and how they presented Gear 5, immaculate. We got the Gorosei kind of announcing how it all happened, how the fruits evading them, how
Right, the
powerful it
big
is.
reveal, yeah.
Yeah, the fact that the Gorosei did the reveal and they kind of narrated what was going on, that was immaculate. It was perfection. And then while they're kind of narrating what's going on, Luffy is becoming Joy Boy. We see him jumping around. We see him transforming. It's like it was depicted immaculately, and the way it kind of like forged with the story per se, like it was the essence of Joy Boy was there fully. We had Luffy laughing. Everything was like the aspect of Joy Boy. They got it very accurate. People people will say, "Oh, it was very cartoonish," this that, but the fact of the matter was, he's the warrior of liberation. His whole goal and his whole thing is to get people onto his side through cheer and joy. And I think the transformation, kind of depicted that immaculately. But what do you think about just that part of how they kind of got how basically Gear 5 is very accurate to the story?
Okay, well, let me start back from something that you said earlier about whether or not it broke the internet. According to this one user that I've been following on Instagram for a minute, and this user hella clutch, yo. By the way, like it's like a leaks page, and this leaks page, whoever this user is, has called out so many different leaks and has been spot on. So I can say without a doubt it's pretty accurate. So this user said that the episode crashed more than 70 websites. Obviously, there's not 70 streamed websites. A lot of it is pirated websites. But amongst the ones that they listed, Crunchyroll was one, and a bunch of other the pirate websites and whatnot. But it definitely did break the internet. Not for long. Some people are saying it was only for a couple of minutes, which I think me and you both experienced in our watch party. Like we couldn't get to Crunchyroll, and then we finally were
Yeah.
able to. Didn't honestly didn't take that long, but yeah, that was just touching up on that part. The second part, as a manga reader, I will say that it was depicted very very well and very accurately. um Two little points to kind of point out is one, obviously it's supposed to be cartoony, even though for better or worse that's not what a lot of people want to see, but that's exactly how it was supposed to be. His whole thing was he's supposed to fight in a unique way that he is able to own himself, like Luffy's able to do, and only he can fight like that. And that's something that was depicted in the manga, and that's something that was brought to life with the anime, and you could see it like throughout, like the way that the island, the little mountain he was on was moving, and all the other cool little shit that was going on. Like that's something that you don't really see from anime, and it's something that was in the manga, and again it was brought to life. Other than that, you were talking about the delivery, dude. The delivery was fire. It all started with the last episode, actually, with Zunisha talking about Joy Boy coming and hearing the drums. From that point on, from the previous episode, and then the heartbeat all the way throughout until it was fully presented, from him getting up, from Luffy getting up, from him, obviously transforming into Gear 5, him jumping over the moon and whatnot. Like that was solid. And then I don't know if you remember this particular scene, but when it like listed all the gears, like one through four, and then finally five hit, that shit was pretty good. So I'd say the delivery was spot on for sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the animations and everything peak, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I do want to get into one thing that kind of like shows how long Oda's been thinking about this for.
Mm-hmm.
Like like now that I think about it, right? And I've seen this on TikTok too. Like, remember when Luffy was training with Rayleigh, and we were seeing him come up with new powers, and
Mm-hmm.
we realized like in the middle of the show, or like in the beginning of the show, and we really thought that Luffy had a pretty shit fruit. Like I thought Luffy had a shit fruit, and the only reason it was going good is because of how he was using it and his imagination of using it.
Mm-hmm.
So like Oda from the beginning has kind of led us on to like putting us on to Luffy being such a creative person when it comes to using his powers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like the way he set it up for Gear 5, and how Gear 5 in essence is literally anything you can do with your imagination, you can do. Like Luffy was probably so limited to what he can do because he probably thought of so many things, of so many ways to use his powers, but it was so limited because of his actual fruit. But now that it's awakened, he can literally do anything he actually wanted to previously. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many instances where like he does really like Balloon Man. Like remember Fusin when he's
Yeah, yeah.
like that power within itself is so weird. And we saw it being used one of the first times. I think it was against Garp or something, where Garp threw like um a cannonball and he just Fusined it. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if that was one of the first times, but it's a very creative thing that he does, and he does this with a lot of his moves. It's very creative. It's very out of the blue. It's very like weird, and he has to come up with it. It's not just like Aokiji's power where he just throws ice at you, or he has something to throw at you. He really has to like kind of figure out how to use his ability to its max, like efficiency. But what Gear 5 did is basically kind of open the bottle, and now he can do whatever the hell he wants. Like we saw what he was doing to Kaido, how he was literally like, bro, the one of my favorite moments in that was when he deflected Kaido's blast breath with the
Mm-hmm.
with the wall that he made
Yeah, that was
from
pretty sick.
grabbing the ground. I think that like that just that scene depicted how crazy his imagination is gonna get. Like he literally deflected Kaido's attack back at him with just the ground. So we know that we obviously know that this power is said by the Gorosei one of the most ridiculous, I mean the most ridiculous power to ever exist.
Mm-hmm.
And pair that with Luffy's imagination, and we literally got something that's unbeatable. I loved that last part, that reflective, the
Mhm.
reflective attack that he used. But other than that, that's I could keep going on about the good stuff. But what do you think about his whole like fighting style and everything about that? I'll get into that
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah. I mean, honestly, man, it's definitely different. You know, I don't know, man. This might just be a personal take. Although I do like the story that One Piece has, but I feel like I like the more serious shit, which is just me personally. I hope this doesn't get overblown, and we keep having to see this. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, man. Maybe it's just a hot take, but personally, I prefer the older fighting style where it's more even playing field, and we wouldn't have to see multiple things over and over again. And I'll talk about more about what I'm talking about later on in the bad, but this is the good part. So let me quickly see some other good stuff. So first of all, soundtrack was fire. I think me and you can agree to that.
Hell yeah.
Obviously, the animation whatnot was fire. But dude, honestly, man, like I don't know, man. Maybe at the time it was kind of giving a low blow, but I don't know. Overall, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, a lot of cool things happened, and it was definitely a good episode overall.
Yeah. Okay. Just to like end off the with the good. I understand exactly where you're coming from, and I'm gonna go on a rant about that on the bad part too. So don't
Hmm.
worry. Um, for the good though, I loved his fighting style, right? The fighting style I liked. The animations I didn't. I think they went a bit too much with all the sound effects and all the, like they did too much. But
Wait,
I
hold on, hold on,
understand.
hold on. Let me ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
The voice acting, bro, like the laugh, that was fire, bro. Did you
Yeah,
like it?
that's exactly what I was gonna say. So that's where
Nice.
I was trying to come up to, like him laughing, and that's what I meant by the style, like him
Hmm.
playing around. You know, like it was like a kid. It was literally like a kid when he was on the roof, jumping around, and then he grabbed Kaido from the top floor, and he just brought him up to the roof. That was such a good moment. It showed his kid side coming out. Like he
Hmm.
literally grabbed Kaido and was chucking him around. And then when you saw like how they have the little bumps in like whenever you get hit on your head like
Hmm.
Tom and Gary, it's the same exact thing. So
Right, right, yeah.
yeah, so the way he was just like on the floor just laughing the whole time, like that was so funny. And I think that was like a great depiction of Joy Boy, like the Joy Boy part of it. But yeah, let's get into to the
The
bad part.
bad. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Do you want to start
You want
this
to
one off? All right, I
that?
got this.
Yeah, you got this. You got this.
All right, all right. So obviously the ugly part is going to be a lot worse. So I'll save a lot of things for then. But obviously for me, the bad thing we talked about it earlier was just the particular style that this was done. I felt like I had to see some of the obvious. All right, so let me give a little bit of backstory before I get into that. So obviously in the manga, it's supposed to be cartoony. It's just like how the way that this like Oda wanted it to be, which is perfectly fine. But the part that kind of annoyed me just a little bit was some of the animations were repeated. And kind of before I go into that a little bit, let me preface that real quick with they hired like one of the animators for Looney Tunes, and they used him to animate this episode. So obviously they're bringing in some cartoon expertise. But when I'm talking about these cartoony moments, obviously there's the one that Owen talked about where Luffy picks him up and kind of swings him from side to side. I like that. But then one of the things that annoyed me was when I saw like Kaido get like smashed or whatever and sent off the screen, you would see the eyes and then you would see the eyes go with him. I thought that was cool the first time, but I felt like they abused that specific style. Like they used that 4 or 5 times at
Yeah,
least. And I
that's
thought,
yeah.
yeah,
That was they did that so many times. Like
right?
it was cool the first time. It was cool. Luffy did it. I don't know if you see the TikTok trend of
Hmm.
Luffy's eyes. It was
Yeah.
so funny. The first time I saw it, it was like whenever I see a Latina or something, and then you see his eyes and mouth just go wide open. It was funny as hell. But yeah, like them doing it once, twice, okay, I understand that. But yeah, they did it so many times, and it was like, bro, is this the only animation you know? Like it was
Right.
getting quite repetitive. But yeah,
That's really it for me. The rest of the stuff I would say is in the ugly category.
damn. Okay, so let me give my hot takes on the bad. I think they over. I don't know if I should put this in the bad or if I should put this in the ugly, but they really abused the like they did too much with the cartooning. It was good, right? Like, and
Yeah.
I really do agree with you when it comes to like, obviously we want cartoon, right? We know that his power is Toon Force, but the amount of cartoon you're adding to anime makes it a cartoon now and not anime. You know what I mean? Anime
Mhm.
has its own style, and I get, you're trying to mix cartoon and anime, and this is the first time it's kind of being done, so we don't know where the line is per se. But I think they might have just went a bit too much over the line with the sound effects, even in the impact frames. Like you had like Luffy looking like a clown. It was literally like his face was just weird.
Mhm.
Same thing with like Kaido when he got hit. Like when Luffy got hit by Kaido's Thunder Bagu, bro, it looked too cartoonish. And
Mhm.
we're on to enemies that are like a Yonko level, above Yonko level, like Pirate King level, right? We're getting onto those type of characters, and I'm not trying to see silly like this much silliness. Like I get
Yeah.
it, the
No, I'm with you.
silliness is okay, but like it's a bit overhand because we already know Luffy's a silly character, and whenever he goes into fighting mode, it's normally serious. And then we see like um it's just him going serious mode is kind of what like makes the hype. It kind of sets the odds and creates the hype within the battles. Like
Mhm.
just to give you an example, when he broke the mirror in his mirror to go back when he was in Katakuri's mirror world, that was him
Mhm.
being serious. That was such an epic moment, and we knew he was serious and he had to go through with his plan to even get out. And I like that he does laugh at the character, but it's getting a bit too much.
Yeah.
Other than that, I do want to go into more stuff, but I think that's gonna be in the more ugly category.
Fair, fair.
But another good thing I wanted to talk about, I know this is a bit late, but that one scene where he splits the sky by himself,
Oh yeah, that was fire.
no nobody else, bro. I was just like, yo, like this whole time, every time we saw like the sky splitting in One Piece, it was two powerful characters, whether that be Roger and Whitebeard clashing, Big Mom and Kaido clashing, Luffy and Kaido clashing. This is the first time we saw it base just Luffy, no second character, and he completely split the sky immediately. And I think that was, I don't know if you can count that as a hockey feat at all or what, but I think now it's solidified that Luffy definitely has top tier hockey within the verse. Like
Mhm.
he's up there when it comes to straight using hockey, conquers hockey, especially. Um, Other than that, you know, we could get into like the more ugly stuff,
Mhm.
but I think that's it for the bad
Yeah.
because I don't want
Yeah.
to because there's some stuff that I really truly did not like. Oh, and talking about the bad, I think this will go in the bad and not the ugly. They kind of took a bit too long on the Hiyori part. Like this was an episode meant for Gear 5,
Mhm.
and there was no point of like, obviously you need time off Gear 5. You can't just have
Yeah.
like the 20 minutes full of Gear 5. I get that. But you already spent 10 minutes on the same, and you know exactly what I mean. They spent 10 minutes on the same exact animation, and
Mhm.
then they spent another like 8 minutes on like Hiyori. That just got me tight. It took a bit too long, and I know
Yeah.
it's an important part of the story, and I don't want to take away from that part of the story at all because Orochi was, bro. He was on the level of who's that? I don't know if you've ever watched Game of Thrones. Joffrey Baratheon in Game of Thrones. He's like one of the most hated characters ever created, right? And I think for One Piece, I think for me, Orochi is one of the most hated characters in One Piece at like in general. Like the dude can't fight. He's in a he's in a position of power. He abuses his power. He's the ultimate cuck Like, bro, I just hate him. Like the dude's I hate that dude. But seeing him die in that fashion obviously was amazing. But I
Mhm.
think they could have really like either shortened that part or kind of more put that part in the next season, in the next episode. And I know it kind of defeats the whole like um what do you call it? Like how the manga goes with the anime
Mhm.
kind of shifts that. But if they like put half of it in this episode and half of it in the next episode, I would have enjoyed that more. But other than that, I think we got through all the good and the bad. But yeah, let's get into the ugly.
I go live, man. That was the thing that was in my ugly for them for my main point. So obviously, too much screen time for that. I feel like they honestly don't have to. They didn't need to slide that into this episode. They could have easily done it before, which honestly is super annoying because again, a lot of us are here for Gear 5, and we don't really want to watch a majority of the episode just be about Hiyori Kamerasaki, whatever her name is. And yeah, man, that was my biggest pet peeve. But even worse than that in this episode was they repeated a lot of the scenes. So obviously we had just the Kaido versus Luffy from the last episode when Luffy was, I think he was Gear 4, and then that CP0 member held on to him. That was like the whole last 3 minutes of the episode, and that was really annoying. And then another part was before like the halfway intermission, where they show like the Straw Pirates and stuff.
Yeah.
They were showing a scene and then they repeated that scene right after the intermission. So it was literally like almost 2 minutes of repeating right there, combined with the 3 minutes at the end, combined with the whole Hiyori part. So like half the episode was just, yeah, it just wasn't what we wanted to watch, which hopefully this is my happy way of looking at it. Next episode either about to be lit as hell or it
Yeah.
might be a flop, bro. But I feel like it's gonna be, hopefully it should be a great continuation because of where we left off. Like we didn't get to the climax of the battle, but that would be my main two ugly points. Obviously, those two. If I had to add one more, and I'm sorry I'm rambling on, but that would just be like the ultimate reaction of the fans. Obviously, there's people that hate One Piece without even watching it. We talk about them. We talk about them a lot, but yeah, obviously they were just trolling One Piece fans for it not breaking the internet or for it not doing as well or for even for it looking cartoony. Obviously, this is how it was supposed to be adapted, so that's completely fine. Like, to each their own. But I feel like a lot of times coming out of a really hyped episode, there's a lot of cool reactions and a lot of cool people, just making memes or hanging out. You see a lot with like the final episode of a Demon Slayer or even all the episodes of Attack on Titan. I feel like it was an L for the community because I mean, at least for me, I didn't really see it that many hype things. I know you were talking about one of the memes that came out with like Luffy's eyes, but I felt like most of the memes were just trolling One Piece fans for not breaking the internet, which was a little bit funny, honestly. But I felt like there could have been a lot more content to for like there was a lot more opportunity for this episode to have a lot better memes and just overall community sentiment. So that would be my three L's for this ugly session for this episode.
No, I get that meme part heavily, bro. There's barely any memes. Most of it was literally people just clowning on the animations. Like kind of screenshotting those moments where it's like those impact frames where he kind
Mhm.
of does look dumb. And honestly, it's he doesn't that like they be screenshotting the impact frames. Like he only looks dumb for like for literally a frame. Like they literally catch that shit. But yeah. When it comes to the bad, I think it was longer than 2 minutes, bro. That animation where he's jumping on the ground, getting up, moving
Mhm.
left to right, and then continuously laughing. I feel like they played that shit like 5 times, bro. Like I was watching that shit. I'm like, bro, are they really gonna play this shit again? Like I've just watched this like 3 times. Like I'm pretty sure they did it more than 2 times. It really felt like they reused that same clip literally 3 times, and I was just getting sick. I'm like, yo, this is it really turned me off from the episode because they did it really early on in the episode. Like they did it right in the beginning to until the halftime. They kept showing that one scene of him kind of getting up. Um,
Right.
that was ugly. The cartoonishness, like too much cartoonishness, that was a bit ugly. Where it's like, bro, I'm getting sick of this. It's I don't want to see him fight Shanks like this. I don't want to see him fight Blackbeard like this. If he's fighting Blackbeard and Shanks like like goofing off like this, it's gonna be a bit too much. I think they need to kind of find the balance of how they're going to depict the cartoony style. I don't like.
Mhm.
I don't think they need to go Tom and Jerry mode fully. I think they need to. Some attacks are kind of goofy, and then some attacks we still get the, the Gatling gun. We still get the, the stuff that we all came for, the stuff that we all enjoy, and we've all, kind of lived throughout One Piece. If
Right.
they do like a whole 360 turnaround, that's definitely gonna get a lot of people pissed, and it really doesn't like I don't like that style of fighting as much as I like the straight raw, hockey style clashes when it comes to that. But then again, like we right now, all we saw was a one-sided fight from Luffy at this point.
Hmm.
We really didn't see any clashes. We didn't see any actual combat when it came to Kaido trying hard. And I know it's weird. People are saying, oh, Luffy's just playing around with Kaido, and I think what it actually is Kaido did not expect this shit, so he's caught off guard. But the next episode, we're gonna see some real fights. We're gonna see some actual like Luffy is not stronger than Kaido right now. I don't care if you went to Gear 5. Kaido has been fighting everybody and everybody. Like it does he's been fighting for so long. He's been carrying an island. He's been doing he's literally has fought every single person viable of fighting, and he's still fighting till now. So even now, I still don't consider Luffy stronger than Kaido. Even if he beats him after this, I still don't consider Luffy stronger than Kaido. But obviously, once he can prove himself in the next fight with whoever it is, then I'll kind of consider him in that. That's kind of a whole different segment I just went into, but other than that, I think we kind of went over most of the ugly. I know a lot of people agree with us when it comes to the Hiyori part, when it comes to the usage of that same animation, like literally 3 to 4 times, and that part where and the too cartoonish part. People are kind of clowning on. Okay, there's a difference between clowning on the cartoon part, and because some people don't watch One Piece and they just clown on the cartoon part because they don't know what's going on. And I'm not talking about that. I like the cartoon part, but it's just if they can reduce it by like 15%, that would be
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah,
Other
I
than
agree.
yeah, other than that, the episode was pretty good, phenomenal. I don't think it's. I think the Zoro versus King episode was still better than this one, in my
Mm.
opinion. I think the hype kind of killed the episode. Like too much hype killed the episode. Like because it's like a high risk high reward factor, right? You hype it up, you hype it up, you hype it up, and if it delivers well, this will be known as and cemented as the best episode ever made. But if you hype it up this much and it doesn't deliver, then people are just gonna clown you, and I think that's kind of what happened with this episode. That's why there weren't that many memes afterwards, and there wasn't that much. It was a lot of people kind of defending, like the One Piece fans defending One Piece. It was either they were defending One Piece or they're kind of agreeing that they did a bit too much with the factors that we were talking about. But yeah, other than that, I hope the next episode is the actual it is the actual fight, and I hope that delivers a lot more. I think I think this was just like a kind of setup episode for that next episode,
Hmm. Hmm.
and and hopefully it goes crazy.
Yeah, because you got to think that and no one from the One Piece staff was hyping up this episode. I mean, yeah, sure, they're having this episode in like theaters and whatnot, but that's just the general fan base hyping it up. So no one really knows what's to come next. Obviously, if you're the manga, you know what's gonna happen, but I'm talking about in a production standpoint. But other than that, yeah, I mean, Owen, I actually have a question for you before we end the episode. All
What's
right,
up?
man. So you said in the last episode that
You're gonna
if
say this?
yeah, man, you said if the episode didn't live up to the hype and it didn't deliver, you'd read the
Oh
manga. What's
God.
the word, bro?
I'm reading it. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it
Oh, word?
after the Gear 5, after he gets out of Gear 5, because I want to see the whole Gear 5 animated before I get
Okay.
into it. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Hmm.
So I'll watch until he gets either defeats Kaido. I don't know how it ends. Either he defeats Kaido or gets out of his Gear 5 state. I want to watch till then. Then I'll swing the manga for sure.
All right, that's
Because
fair.
yeah, I am a man of my word, and I know I did say that if it didn't live up to the hype, I will read it, and Yeah, I mean, most of One Piece from now will be information heavy, information based. And I know every single episode has been banger after banger after banger. So I know I'm in for a treat. But damn, this is gonna be my first introduction to manga. I mean, I've read one
You have to do
chapter.
it, man.
I read one chapter. I didn't enjoy it that much, but
Mhm.
when it but that was more of like a fighting scene. I think I watched,
Mhm.
which is the worst to watch when it comes to manga. I would say compared to the anime. But
Mhm.
after Wano, I'm trying to see all the crazy shit that's been happening in the manga and join you guys for this non-spoiler adventure, bro. I've been getting spoiled left and right, bro. Like, bro, I've been watching One Piece for 10 plus years and I still like I get spoiled all the time. And at this point I'm like, yo, I don't even care if I get spoiled that much because information is king for me, but that is definitely going to be the reason why. Also, I'm going through the manga. Like, I need the information. One Piece
That's
is just
fair.
too peak for me not to get this key information. But yeah, bro. But the last thing I kind of want to touch upon was, watch parties. Um, we are gonna do watch parties in the future, and it's gonna be lit. We couldn't get the watch party up for this one. We were running into some complications, but we're figuring that out this week. And whenever the next new hype shit comes out, definitely catch us in a watch party, and
Mhm.
everyone's gonna have a great ass time. We do
Yeah.
these watch parties on our Discord. Uh, the Discord will be linked, in the description. And if you want to join, talk to us, talk to people in the Discord. Just talk about anime in general. Play some games. Place to hang out. Place to have fun and meet people, like-minded people. This is the Discord for it. Our whole mission with this podcast and everything in general is to build the biggest anime community and to kind of shift the perspective of anime weebs from being weird and kind of like antisocial to, you know, regular. Everyone, like, so many more people are watching anime, and I think it was very hard before to watch anime, and this is a completely different topic, but yeah, we want to build a community that is open to all anime fans.
Thanks, man. So y'all make sure you check out the link in the description, join our Discord. Let us know your thoughts on, obviously this episode, the future episodes, or anything in general. Where we're out there, we're chilling. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode of Anime Plus. Peace.
Peace.